Hello everyone, MMA Buff back with another video, and today we are going to be talking about a very exciting card, specifically the main event between Ian Garry and Carlo Prates. Without wasting any of your time or mine, let me give it to you straight. If I've ever seen a betting trap or a fight that is just very hard to call, this is it. A side of me wants to say Prates gets the win just out of his sheer finishing ability. The dude smokes people like he smokes who knows how many packs of cigarettes every single day. He has insane power, very accurate shots, and not only that, but maybe most importantly, the finishing instinct. The guy is on a 10-fight knockout streak, like come on. At the same time though, I also think Garry is extremely good at crawling his way to a decision, and literally doing whatever it takes to win in general. Many people underestimate, even mock that ability, but I think that's a very dangerous mindset for a fighter to have. Ian Garry is the type of dude who adapts on the fly very well, so if something doesn't work out for him in that specific night, he switches things up just like that and comes out on top. The most obvious example I can give you is the adjustments he made after he was knocked down by Song on UFC 285, if I'm not mistaken. Devon Jones completely destroyed Strilgano, you know? Anyway, in that fight, the reads Garry was able to make after he got knocked down was crucial, eventually leading to his own finishing sequence that won him the fight. Before going back to talking about Prates, I wanna cover this in a bit more detail, okay? In the very first round, Garry gets caught as he tries to catch Song with a lead left hook after going down to the body. Song just eats that damage like it's nothing and catches Garry bad with his own left hook. This is the most rocked Garry ever was during his time in the UFC, so it's definitely significant in relation to the Prates fight. Because even if he doesn't get in this tricky of a situation, there is a high chance he may have to put up with some big blows, and somehow, someway, he will need to hold his own against them. Circling back to his fight against Song, Garry now knows Song's tendency to respond with a lead hook after he is forced to shell up. Ian Garry times this pull counter perfectly after he already got Song hurt to an extent, and that little read literally wins him the fight. Now, I have to admit, not all of Ian Garry's adjustments looked pretty, okay? We had that stinker of a fight between him and MVP, yet I feel like some people were too harsh on him for that. Cause no matter who you are, I don't think it's smart to just point strike with MVP, unless you have like insane KO power or something. Even then, it really doesn't make sense cause you are not catching him, okay? Like honestly, to beat a guy like MVP, you need to have some sort of takedown threat for sure, and that is exactly what Garry had to lean on. I know I titled this video Why Ian Garry vs Carlo Prates Will Not Be Close, but here I am talking about the positives regarding the two fighters. Well, you see, I'm not saying their overall power level per se as a complete fighter is not close. I just think their stylistic matchup is very likely to lead into two distinct outcomes. First of which is Prates knocking Ian Garry's lights out very quick, most likely in the first two rounds. Everyone goes crazy, fighting nurse hype continues, yada yada yada. Listen, or we see the other scenario, which I think has pretty much the same chance of happening. Prates starts strong, Garry manages to keep his distance, he uses his leg kicks, the long jab and everything. From there we get to the third round, the fourth round, and so on. Ian Garry mixes in some grappling here and there, he's up on the scorecards, and boom, it's his fight. Admittedly, this would be the lesser exciting version out of those two possible ways the fight can go, however, you know it can happen. That's essentially what I mean by saying this fight will not be close. We are definitely not going to see a 5-round war between these two, and if we do, I will be so surprised. So yeah, it's very hard to call as I said. If I absolutely had to give someone the edge, here's my thought process, okay? One very important thing to consider when we are trying to assess how these fighters may size up against each other is the level of competition they face so far. Yes, some of Garry's fights were relatively boring, still, if we are just looking at which fighter fought better opposition, it's definitely Ian Garry. I also recognize any experience, age, or speed advantage will not really mean much if Garry gets caught by Prates clean, cause let's be honest, we all know Prates will end the fight right there and then. The reason I may sound like I'm favoring Garry, which I am by the way, just a little bit, is I know he's the kind of guy who does his study, do the math in his head regarding how he can come out on top, you know? Since we saw Garry literally smother MVP with less than stellar grappling, he will at least try to do the same against Carlos over the course of a 25-minute fight. I reckon the key here is how good is the takedown defense of Prates? We don't know, that's the problem. We will see just how good it really is, along with how his cardio will hold up, because remember, we have witnessed Ian Garry cause problems against Shavkat of all people in the later rounds. I'm not saying Carlos is a bad cardio or anything, because this dude finishes fights so quick, we never even get to see what he would look like in a late round 3 in the UFC, let alone what he would do in a 5-round fight. At the end of the day, I really think this fight is amazing matchmaking, so props to Uncle Dana for that, or I should say the UFC matchmakers. Whoever ends up winning it for sure will get fast-tracked to the title contention road, whether we like it or not. So yeah, it will be interesting to watch how it plays out. Let me know if you agree with the points I made in this video. Also let me know what is your take. Feel free to comment that down below and I will read them all, okay? Remember, you have to give your opinions before the fight happens for them to be valid, alright? Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you the next time. Until then, you don't forget to subscribe and you take good care of yourself. Cheers!